We are on this job where we've got the underfloor heating to go in here, which is the kitchen, and here, which is the dining room. So the manifold is going to go here. We're going to have to drill 4 holes through the floor because if you notice the levels are slightly different on the floor. It's the job where we did this bathroom about 2 months ago. So here's a little tip for you when you're doing underfloor heating. So we've got the pipe recoiler, just a case of pulling the pipe out like that, and it's just so much easier then to be able to work on your own fitting it here. And that takes us directly above where the manifold is. We can then get our 2 feeds in, 2 flow return feeds in for that manifold. Now I have not got a clue what it is, whether it's an old cold main, whether it's an old gas main, or what, I don't know. So I'm going to crack the nut off the top and see if it's basically if it's live or not with anything. If it's not, we can just cut it off level. If it is, we're going to have to work out what's what with it. Let's have a look. It's fairly loose, so welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody is doing okay. It feels like forever that I've actually put a plumbing video out there. As you know, I was on holiday for a bit. I backstacked a few videos of factory tours and little jobs that I had, but this seems to be the first proper full-on video I've done about plumbing, which is what the channel's about, for a good few weeks. So forgive me for that. We're back at it. We are starting an extension, or I have started an extension. It's the extension that I did the bathroom for about 2 or 3 months ago, and I said at the time we're now going to do the extension off the back of the house. So I've began to do that. As you'll see in this video, I'm putting the underfloor heating down. As always, Snug underfloor heating. I've worked with Snug for, God, it must be 18 months or so now. If you went to Installer last year, you may well have known that I was working with them on their stand, which I'm doing again this year. So if you're at Installer on the Wednesday, come and see me. I'll be on the Snug stand. Anyway, we put underfloor heating in the dining area and the kitchen area. You'll see the process of that, working from the schematics to putting it actually down, laying it, and what we've then got to do onto the manifold and working back to the boiler. So we've got all that in this video, which is great. And just basically getting my head around this job. We've got to get a lot of pipe work in for various things, and we've also got a first fix for the bathroom. Can't remember if I put that on this video. If not, it'll be on the next one, but we've got to get all the pipe work in for the bathroom as well. But yeah, it's just nice to finally get, it just seems like forever that I've done any plumbing. I went on holiday. I came back on the Wednesday. The Thursday, we went for, me and a load of the lads from the socials went for a factory tour at Shorestop, which we've got coming up, the little switch that goes on your cold main coming into your house. That's quite interesting. Went to a factory tour there. Then it was the Friday, and I was like, well, I just went around pricing a load of stuff up, which was one of the previous videos. Are you following me? That's why it feels like I've not done anything. And then it was Bank Holiday Monday. So this video starts on the Tuesday after the last bank holiday we had, because if you're watching this on the Sunday night of the coronation, we've got another bank holiday tomorrow. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. As always, hit the like button, drop me a comment below. I always try, as you know, I always try to reply to everyone. Hit the subscribe button. There's loads of you that watch the channel but don't get subscribed. Don't cost nothing. Some people think you have to pay to subscribe to a channel. It costs nothing. Just hit that subscribe button. Then when I put new content out, it'll ping up and you'll know that there's a new video out, because at the minute I've got a few to chuck out here, there and everywhere. So hit the like button on this video, massively helps. Drop me a comment below and get subscribed. Hope you enjoy the video. I'll leave you to it. Right, we are back at it. It feels like I haven't done any plumbing for weeks and weeks with my holiday and all that sort of stuff, but finally we are on this job where we've got the underfloor heating to go in here, which is the kitchen, and here, which is the dining room. So we're getting this in, and then the screeders can come early next week and get the floor in. So all this area has been completely underfloored. We've got the pipe work out the back there, and then in here is the kitchen. So you're gonna have the worktops running around the outside. There's an island going in the middle, so you've got to work out exactly the spacings ready for the pipe work to be laid inside here. We have got the drawings from Snug, which are over here. So that is dining area, which is there, and then this is the kitchen area. These are the work units going around the outside. So yeah, we'll work out exactly what's what there. Got the new pipe decoiler there, new staple gun there. So the manifold is going to go here, It's only a 2-port manifold. That's going to go there. We're going to have to drill 4 holes through the floor because if you notice the levels are slightly different on the floor and we want to be right down here. So we'll drill 4 pilot holes through there and get it sleeved, and then we can start looping that underfloor heating in. And then upstairs, we've got some bits and bobs to do. I'll take you up and quickly show you. This is, funny enough, this is the job where, as soon as I open this door, you'll see, it's the job where we did this bathroom about 2 months ago. You know, when all the pipe work was behind here and we had to cut it all out. It's the same job, and I think I said at the time we was doing the extension as well. So we've got that there. We've got the ensuite going in here, and if you remember back to it, all the pipe work runs underneath there, so we can get to that there. We've also got a radiator going on there. Hot and colds are going to run across there, drop down into the corner to feed the kitchen. So it's fairly straightforward, but being on holiday for a week or so has put me back a little bit. So we've got to crack on with it, get the underfloor heating laid, and then they can screed this floor, and we can begin getting it plastered. So my pipe work's going to run in that void above there, drop down in this corner for the kitchen hot and colds, and then we'll go across with the heating pipes up for that rad. So straightforward enough. We've got to concentrate now though, getting the underfloor heating in, and I can get this screeded. So let's get some holes through this wall. So this is the position where we're going to put the underfloor heating manifold. I've just unpacked it and made it up. So we've got the 2 ports, obviously on the manifold here. We've got our drain off points on the side, 2 isolation valves, then it comes across through the blending valves, through the mixer valves, and then you've got your pump in the middle. So what we'll do, we'll offer that up into this position here, like so. So it's going to fit roughly around there. So what we'll do, I'll mark up exactly where that's going to go, come down, drill our holes through there at an angle so they're dropping down onto that level where we're going to be flat on the floor, and then we can begin getting some sleeves through here. So I'm going to do that dining room area through there first, and then we can work out the kitchen layout. So we've got our 4 holes drilled out here, ready for the flow return for the dining area and the flow return for the kitchen area. I've got some overflow pipes, so what we can do when we're ready to is put that through there, sleeve it, and then the underfloor heating pipe will slide through there. But we've got to start off by getting it in. So we've got the pipe on the decoiler. What I'm going to do is just take the end of the pipe here, because we're going to go through just here. The holes are there, the 4 holes are in line there. I'm going to bring a bit of pipe in, I'm going to clip it here, just so that we've got enough. Once this area is done, I can then feed it through that wall, through the cavity, and poke it up here, so we know we've got enough then to get onto the manifold. And then we can work around the outside and work our way in. So here's a little tip for you when you're doing underfloor heating. I've cut this little bit of timber here, that is 400mm. Now, when we're running a pipe down here, so when we're running the pipe down here, I can put that pipe in straight along there, and then put my little timber there. And then when I'm doing my return pipe here, we know they're going to be 400 apart because the centres are 200. So you're going to have a pipe this side, pipe that side, and then when we're returning, we're going to have one in the middle. So at least we know it's spaced out perfectly. As I say, we've got the pipe decoiler. It's just a case of pulling the pipe out like that, and it's just so much easier then to be able to work on your own fitting it here. So we're going to come out here, we're on the thick blue line here, so we go around all the way around the outside, 100mm from the actual wall itself, all on the outside, and then we'll begin between that line and that line, the 2 thick blue lines, that's your 400. So this dotted one in between will be on your 200. And we just work our way around into the middle, and then back out again and back through. So see what I mean with that? I've just clipped that bit of pipe in there, so as it's going to bend in there, we've got that much that's going to poke in the other side here that we can get onto the manifold. So I've just clipped this in round here. What I'm going to do now is carry on and do the whole lot inside this dining area. Dotted. So that's the outer perimeter, if you like, of the pipework. That is all to the 400 centres. So now we're going to loop back on ourselves all the way back and fill in basically the gap. So with 200 centres to the whole span of the pipework. Basically just uncoil itself back out, round, out of here, along, and then we'll cut the tail off again there, and then we can look at getting them poked through. And then that is that dining area done. Right, that's that dining room loop done. As you can see by all these single clips, these underfloor heating guns, they jam up sometimes. It's a right pain in the arse. But yeah, that's the underfloor heating loop done in the dining area. All laid out, all to spec, the right amount of loops per the drawing. So we've brought the tails round. Again, I'm just going to cut that one off there, and then we can poke it through into that manifold position. It's going to be on this side. So we'll sort that out. We'll have a clean up in here now. We'll work out where the units are and where the island is, and then we can begin doing this kitchen loop. So with the dining area done now, we're moving into the kitchen area. What I've worked out is this batten along there, batten along the back there, and this area here is where the work units are going. Fridge going here, work units along the back, work units along the side. So we've marked out that, so we're going to take the underfloor heating up to there, and then in the middle, I've marked it out on the floor here, along to here, and it's 900. This is where the island's going. So all the underfloor heating is going to circulate round the island in the kitchen, as per, as always, schematics here. So again, we're going to start here. We're going to run this thick red line all the way around the outside, and then slowly work our way in. And then when it gets to the bit where the island is in the middle, just got to do a little bit of a wavy line all the way through, just to spread the heat when it's going between the work units and where the island is. So let's begin to get this in. So what I've done, I've put the pipe coil onto some boarding here, just because when we pull it to do this side, there's no point in it being anywhere around there, because it's just going to trip up on ourselves. So we'll do that. We might have to, well, we will have to just disconnect this, otherwise it's going to get wrapped around that. So we'll give it a sweep up, give it a clean down, and start getting this side in. So we're just in the middle of doing this kitchen run now, this kitchen loop. And sometimes you have to do a little bit of tweaking on it, because this island has moved ever so slightly that way, and this unit's come ever so slightly that way. But as long as you're following as good as the drawing, and you're not going to have any cold spots in the floor, which we're not going to have. This bit spans there, and then this area here is going to be spanned when we work around and do the inner loop that's going to go inside here. So sometimes you've got to tweak a little bit. We've got the island in the middle, which is causing just a little bit of a pain, just tweaking it ever so slightly, but yeah, it's all working. We've got to bring this down here now, round here. We'll loop it across a little bit like that, and then it's round and into this final loop. Sometimes you get to a point in it and you think, shit, have I got the loops right? Is that going to marry up? And you keep going back and checking the drawing, which I've done about twice on this one now, because it's just a little bit fiddly. So we'll finish getting this in, and hopefully these loops will marry up properly. So that's it now. We've got the dining area done. We've got the kitchen area done. We've had to tweak a little bit of the kitchen area on the far side, but the coverage, the heat coverage is going to be perfect with it. And we've left out where the island's going, and obviously where the units are going down the side. We poked through here the 2 feeds for each circuit. We've got the manifold here. It's going to sit on here. And then what we're going to have to do tomorrow now is bring a designated flow and return in this stud work here. And it's got to go all the way back. The boiler is the other side of that wall, so we'll go all the way back with it, put a 2-port valve on it that side, so it can be completely independent from the heating system. So let's just say, for instance, they turn these 2 underfloor heating circuits on and the rest of the heating wasn't on. The 2-port valve would allow this manifold, pump, etc. to kick in and heat that area there. And then vice versa, if they didn't want that on and wanted the rest of the house on, it'll work off the stack which is in the hallway. So yeah, good day, getting all that lot in. So tomorrow we'll concentrate on the flow and returns. So we're back today after yesterday getting all the underfloor heating in. We're now waiting for the screeders to come at some point. They're going to be clearing this out and getting this screeded, which is perfect. What we've got to do is get a designated flow and return down to where this manifold position is. So we've got to take a flow and return direct from the boiler so that it's completely independent from the heating circuit. So what I'm going to do is bring a flow and return out in this stud-work somewhere. So we've got to run a pipe up there and get it over to the boiler, which is the other side of that wall. But as you may notice, we've got a steel here. Now, we've previously worked on this house. We did a bathroom just after Christmas, I think it was. So I sort of knew this was coming. So I've got some pipe work and tried to ask the builders to leave some boards out for us to get some pipe over. Because if you look up here, they're two heating pipes. Now obviously we can't get onto them because they're feeding the central heating at some other point that way. So we've got to try and route the heating pipes for the underfloor heating back that way. I'm going to try and run them by the side of them. So we can drop out here. This is all being boarded to this height, so we've got that little bit of a void, which is perfect because it's a bit of a nightmare there. But I want to try and get our two pipes to here so we can get over this steel. So what I'm going to do is go upstairs and see if we can run them two pipes alongside the heating pipes for the existing heating system. So let me just show you. But basically them pipes are, so let's pop a light in there, and you may remember this pipe work from the previous job. Obviously all the builders put their crap in there, so we'll have to clean all this out. But these two are the heating pipes. They go that way, under this floor, into that hallway, which is them two pipes from downstairs, if you're following me. What I'm going to do is try and run by the side of them. We've got to hook two 22mm heating pipes in that way. I'm going to run it in plastic because I'm going to struggle to get down into that void. So what I can do is feed it in from the garageway to get it to this point. And then we hopefully, I did ask them to leave these boards loose, so we're going to whip these boards up and then we can get some boards up in the hallway and try and expose some pipe work. We've also got to tap in and take off the normal heating system. We've got to go that way down that void to feed a radiator that's going in that end bedroom, and we've got to take hot and colds down that way as well for the kitchen. So yeah, there's a fair bit to get in here, but first of all we've got to see if we can get this board up. Right then, I've got the floor up, managed to expose the floor, which is perfect. We can now see what we're doing. Right, what we've got these two hot and colds here that just terminate underneath that joist there. So I'm going to cut these back here. I'm going to cut that copper pipe back out of the way right over there. So all we've got running through this floor then is the two heating pipes that are currently doing the central heating system. What I'm going to do is run two 22mm pipes through here in plastic, get it underneath here. There's not that much room, but enough room to get it through. And then they're going to poke up in here. That's them two heating pipes. Come up in here. Then fortunately, we've got these joists already notched out from previous pipe work that's been in. So we're going to come along here, and that takes us directly above where the manifold is. We can then get our two feeds in, two flow and return feeds in for that manifold fairly straightforwardly. We can just run it in that joist and across there. This is going to be the bathroom once it's done, so being able to get that floor up has worked a treat because we've got our altar pipe work underneath anyway. But for now we're just getting them heating pipes in. So what I'm going to try and do now is hook these pipes up through there if I can. Probably about, well, just past that bit of lagging is where the boiler is. So if I can just poke them up to here, at least then I can get onto them at this side. I'm going to clear all this crap out of here as well, just to make life a little bit easier. And then what I will do afterwards is get all these pipes clipped along in this floor so they're not going anywhere. Right, I just pushed this 22mm pipe through and it went through a lot easier than what I thought it was going to do. So I'll take you down and show you exactly where I'm pushing it through so you can see where we're coming from to where we're trying to get to. So that's where we want to get to. And the boiler is just inside here. So that's that pipe that I've just pushed through. What I'll do is put an elbow on there and just poke down just in this little void here with two 22mm bits of copper, because then we can get onto it. We're going to have to run inside this sort of boxing down to here to get onto the pipework from the boiler, because we ain't going to get two 22mm down by the side of that socket. So we're going to have to run it down inside that boxing and bring it out. That is just an absolute mess. So to be fair, I'll probably just sort all that crap out as well while I'm there. But yeah, we'll do that one. We'll get the other one in now and we'll poke two tails down, and then we can work from inside that void. So there we go. We've now got our two underfloor heating flame returns poking down just in that void. I can bring them down in there as I need them to then connect on underneath here, because basically I've got to connect onto the flame returns coming out the boiler with a 2-port valve going off to the underfloor heating, and then we've got to come out, put a 2-port valve onto the heating circuit so that they can be individually controllable. So if you want the heating on and not the underfloor, and vice versa, they are able to switch between the two. So we can do all that under there at a later date, but for now we've got that pipe work into that bathroom. So let's go up now and begin to get it under the floor into position where the manifold is. So that's where they're coming out up here. I've got the flow marked up. I marked the return up now, but now we can get it down onto the floor here, get it clipped, run along here and out that way. But let's get these other pipes that we don't need under this floor at the minute out the way. So I've got one of the pipe runs in now, just to here, so we can connect that in a minute to there. Just got to get the other one now. It's easier to push this pipe from this end that way under the floor and then back on itself under here. So you just push that like so, pop it under the joist here, and then put it into there for now. Can alter that under there in a minute. But yeah, that's them in, and as you can see, they're just about poking up through there. So we'll cut off where we need it here. These two here, again, we'll get them labelled up, marked up. But yeah, we'll put elbows on here, and then where they're going through, we can then bring it down and drop it down through the ceiling into that stud work below. So we're now at the point where we've got the two feeds poking out the ceiling. I've put these two pipes in here just so we know where we're at with it. I've got to pick up a couple of elbows, and then we can come down here, and then what I'll do, I'll poke out in copper, ready to feed that manifold there. So that is the flame return as good as in for the manifold. So we've got the screeders coming at some point to do the floor. We've got to get this out of the way now. I have not got a clue what it is, whether it's an old cold main, whether it's an old gas main, or what, I don't know. So I'm going to crack the nut off the top and see if it's basically if it's live or not with anything. If it's not, we can just cut it off level. If it is, we're going to have to work out what's what with it. So let's grab some grips and get this off the top and see if it's live or if it's not. Right, let's crack the top off this then and see what's going on with it. There is a cold main in the house, obviously feeding the house, but I don't know what this is. I think this was behind one of the kitchen units. So let's have a look. It's fairly loose, so I would imagine there's nothing. There you go. There you go, nothing in it. So no, that's completely dead, thank God. So we could just cut that off floor level, and the screeders can do whatever they need to do in there later on in the week. Right, now we've got that pipe out the way. We're waiting on the bits and bobs for that, which I'm going to pick up tomorrow to finish off that manifold. So what we've got to do, this is where the kitchen's going, the sink's going here, so we've got to bring hot and cold to here. So we're going to bring copper pipe around the wall here, and then up into the ceiling space here where the joists are. We've also got a rad going just above there upstairs. So what I've done, I've drilled 4 holes all the way through these joists, and what I'm going to do is run plastic through here, just because it's so much easier to run it through this joist. You're not going to get copper through that. Back in the day, what you would have done when I was doing house bashing, bloody hell, 20 odd years ago, all the copper pipework would have gone in prior to the floors going down. But builders and time spans and all that sort of stuff now, the joists are up, the boards are in. So we've drilled 4 holes through each of these joists. So we'll bring the plastic to here. Then what I'll do, I'll just loop the plastic over there and obviously stab up in copper for the tails for the rad. And then we'll come down here in copper, because we're going to use talon clips and get it flush to the floor with some hair felt lagging on there, and then we can run around here and then poke out exactly where we want it, because it's going to be boarded anyway. I think it's 30mm off the wall that's got to come out where the boxes are. So we can run the copper around, but yeah, that's the only way of getting them pipes in to them joists at the moment. And then what we've got to do is come through here with it, bring the 4 pipes through here, the hot, cold and the heating. The heating's got to be connected above there because that's in that little void space. We've got to drop down. I'm going to come down through this stud work here for, oh, then again, I've just seen the size of that trimmer. Oh yeah, we can get behind it. So I'm going to drop hot and cold down there. What we're going to have here is a utility sink, washing machine and tumble dryer, something like that. So we can come down here and just poke out hot and colds, and we can run that around the back of the units for when that goes in. Waste going straight out the wall. But it's all, you know, you've got to forward think, you've got to plan exactly what's got to go in, where, when. But yeah, so we're just getting to grips with it now. I'm going to start chucking a bit of plastic into them joists. The good thing with plastic, I know it's one of them. I prefer copper, I prefer to work in copper, and everywhere that you'll ever see a pipe that I do will be in copper. But for this, it's going to be so much easier just feeding lengths off the coil, so there's going to be no fittings in the middle, no couplers, whatnot, in the middle through that ceiling. And then we'll come to here with it. As I always say, it's real world plumbing. There's a time and a place for everything, from plastic pipework to copper pipework to press, even press. As you know, I've just bought a press gun, so I'm waiting for that to be delivered. Hopefully, I was hoping it was going to come to do little bits here. Possibly might be next week, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, there's a time and a place for everything, and it's real world plumbing. So let's chuck a bit of pipework in. Right, as I've been on holiday, the electricians have nicked all the prime spots for the joists to get the cables in, but I've got our 4 holes all the way through. So let me just show you. I've got these 4 here, as you can see. What I'm going to do with the 2 on the right, they're going to go off and up to feed that rad. The 2 on the left, we'll put our hot and colds through there, and then we can come into here, elbow, and bring down the wall there, flush with that wall there, and then we can get it onto the wall at the back. I'd like to have got it straight down, but obviously that joist there is right tight against the brickwork, so we're gonna have to come down and then elbow around that corner, which isn't a problem. It is what it is. So let's start getting some piping. I use Polyplumb. I've always used it. I just find it a lot easier to work with than speed fit and stuff like that. Plus to have it on the shelf at Plumbase anyway. So I've got that roll in the van. We'll get all of that in as much as we can. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. If not, we can pick some more up tomorrow. We've got to pick some copper up and whatnot for these drops anyway, so let's start getting a bit of pipe in. These pipes in, you've got to get the holes bang on perfect, because if one is just a little bit out, by the time you're halfway down the run, it starts biting a little bit. But that's the heating pipes in. I've just got to pull a little bit more into the other room and then bring the tail across, and then we can get the hot and colds in. So you've got the heating pipes there. We've bought this one out. I've marked this one up as the hot. Always mark your pipes 100%, no matter what you're doing. Even if you're putting little lengths in, mark them up, because when you go to work out what's what and you haven't marked them up, it can be a nightmare. So we've got the hot coming out there, we've got the cold going to go to the left of it, because what I've done, I've traced it back. If they're coming out like that, we're going to put 2 elbows on, so the hot's going to be on the right, down here, and then it will turn again. So we run along there, the hot along the top, stab out, and then cold on the right hand side to come out there. For the kitchen, we've got a schematics for the kitchen somewhere, so I'll work out exactly what's what and where that's going to go tomorrow. Managed to get 3 lengths in with that coil. It's all gone now, so I've got to pick another coil of 15mm up. I'll pick some copper up for tomorrow, some hair felt lag in, because we'll lag the pipes that we're going to run around the back there as well. And obviously we've got to work out the size of the rad for upstairs that's going up in that bedroom. But yeah, we're beginning to make a little bit of progress. We've got other little bits that we've got to get done anyway, because we've got to do that other run across there. Then we're going to have to bring it across here. We're dropping 2 hot and colds down there, so that's got to go in. We've also got to finish this off and then bring out the bottom, poke out 222 more copper pipes for the manifold that's going in there. So yeah, first stage, we're getting there. First stage of this job is coming along nicely now. I was quite concerned really coming back off holiday because I know I've held the job up by probably about a week. It was put in for the screed to come and be done next week, but I've got the underfloor heating in straight away, so possibly the end of this week they can get the screeding in, which will pull back a good few days on the job. Sometimes you just got to work with the builder, work with the other trades on site just to make things work a little bit better. There's loads more left to do on this job yet, so hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you soon.